In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this quilted personalized computer case. This one that I made can fit my Microsoft Surface Pro, and it can also fit a few of the MacBooks. The dimensions I used are 13.5 inches by 10 3/4 inches, and this little fold over is 5 3/4 inches. This is going to be your front piece. It's going to be the same as the back without the fold over, so 13.5 by 10 3/4. This is going to be the pocket, 10 3/4 by 9 inches. So you're going to take each one of those templates and cut out your fabric. This is going to be the fabric that's on the outside of your computer case. I went with a nice thicker corduroy. Then you're going to take the same templates and cut out fabric for the lining. This is just regular thin cotton in a color that matches. So now, after cutting all my fabric, I'm going to start quilting this front pocket. I am using a heat erasable marker. And this white rectangle here is just a piece of cardboard I had, and I cut it to the size that I want, just to use as a template to trace the lines. These are the lines I will be stitching on to create the quilted look. So I'm going diagonally across the fabric and just evenly spacing the lines. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing going the other way to create those diamond shapes. Now, using my sewing machine, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch right over those lines I just made. I like the monochromatic look, so I'm just doing a pink thread, but you can do whatever color thread you want. Whether you do a similar color or a contrasting color, you'll be able to see the quilted pattern. Now I'm going to use just a regular blow dryer to erase these marker lines. This heat erasable marker is so cool, it erases very well. You can use a blow dryer or an iron or anything that has pretty warm heat. I got it at Michael's and I have it linked below. So this is the pocket of the case, so this is where I want to stitch the name. I'm using carbon transfer paper to transfer the name onto my fabric. There's a couple different ways to transfer patterns, but this is the one I use the most. If you have neat handwriting, you can actually just go ahead and use that heat erasable marker. That would be the best, but my handwriting is not too neat, so I like using the carbon transfer paper, which I also have linked below. Because this is corduroy, it's a little bit harder to see, and then I'm remembering my awesome marker. So I'm going to go ahead and just darken up the line so that when I'm stitching it, it's just easier to follow. I used a hoop for this because I love using hoops. I just find it so much easier to stitch. But I did notice with this particular fabric that it was hard to get the hoop line out afterwards, so you don't have to use a hoop if you don't want to. You can stitch the name in whichever stitch is your favorite. I am using the backwards chain stitch. I start with one little stitch forward, then I'm going to go a little bit more forward, leaving a space. I'm going to go through that first stitch, not going underneath the fabric, and then back down through that second hole. And then you just keep repeating it. So go forward a little bit underneath, go up through the fabric, underneath that first loop that you made, and then back down through that same hole. And just repeat over and over again. After you're done stitching, you can cut out some quilt batting. You actually could have done this when you were cutting out the rest of your fabric. I just forgot about it. You only need 2 pieces, so one for the back and one for the front, and you just cut it a little bit larger than your pieces. The only difference with this and the pocket is that you're going to stitch the batting onto your fabric when you're doing your quilting design. So trace out those diamonds and then sew right over the quilt batting. So now time to get that cotton lining fabric, and you're going to put it on top of your pocket and stitch a line all the way across the top. Make sure your name fabric is facing inside when you stitch, and then you're going to flip it back, iron it, and then do a top stitch at the top so it stays down. You can cut the excess fabric off of your quilt batting and then take your piece of fabric without the flap, so this is the front of your computer case, and line up that pocket piece and pin it together. You can put quilt batting on the pocket if you want to. I just didn't want it to be too bulky, so I didn't do that. You want to make sure that the bottom is lined up pretty well, because when you stitch it, you don't want any holes down there. Now you're going to take your back piece and flip over your front piece so that the back and the front are facing each other. So the batting is facing out and the fabric is facing in. And then pin it all together. Then you're gonna line up the inside fabric that's left, so the front and the back. Go over to your sewing machine and stitch down and across the bottom, but leave a space and then go back up to the side. So I stitched both sides of mine. The top next to the flap is open and there's a little space down here that's open. We're going to need that later after we attach it to the other piece. Now you're going to stitch around the other piece of your case. So you're going to leave the top open, but stitch around the rest of it. So two sides and stitch all the way on the bottom. Cut away the excess fabric and just trim up the corners so they're not super bulky. Just be super careful that you don't trim off your thread that you just sewed on. Now you're going to fold it so it is no longer inside out. Go slow and make sure you're checking all your seams, just in case there's a spot that was missed that you'll have to fix before we keep going. It happens to me 100% of the time. I don't know why I can never get this right on the first time, so now what I'm going to have to do, fold it back so it's inside out again. And I'm just going to stitch another line farther up where the hole was. Mine happens to be at the bottom, so I'm just going to stitch a straight line on the bottom. And cut off the excess again and hope for the best. Okay, everything is closed up, so make sure there's no holes, no batting sticking out anywhere, and we're ready to move on to the next step. I lost some video here, but you're going to put your case inside your lining fabric. Then you're going to stitch around the top of it. So all along the flap and then all along the top of the computer case, if that makes sense. And that little hole that we left that we didn't stitch closed, you're going to pull your computer case through it. This is kind of a pain and takes a little bit of time, but once you neaten it all out, you can flip it inside your case. So we're starting to get to the end here. But before we do the final stitching to close everything up, we want to put a clasp on it. I like the little metal magnetic ones, but you can do Velcro or a snap or anything you like. I always make the case before adding the snap. I don't do any cuts until the case is put together so that I can make sure I line up the closure correctly. So now I'm just cutting a little hole into my lining fabric. I still haven't stitched up that bottom hole. So I'm just taking a little knife and cutting two little slits to add one part of the magnetic closure to. I put just some extra cotton fabric just to give it a little bit more support. I don't want it to just rip through my lining fabric as I'm opening and closing the case. So I put that extra piece of fabric on the inside of the lining, and then they just close right over onto each other. It does come with this little washer, but I still wanted that extra cotton fabric. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom part of the closure. I'm just lining it up to mark where I'm going to cut the holes. Again, I'm going to take out that inside lining fabric and cut the hole into the top so I can add the bottom of the closure. This is pretty thick fabric, so I don't need that extra piece of cotton. I'm just going to use the washer that they gave me and fold it over. I'm stuffing the fabric back in here just so I can double check, even though there's really nothing you can do at this point. There's already holes in your fabric. Now we are finally going to close up that hole. So all I do is do a straight stitch right across. Nobody's going to see it. This is going to be inside your bag the whole time. And then to neaten it up and make sure that fabric stays in there, I stitch around the flap and around the top part of the computer case. I ended up making these for Christmas gifts for teachers this year, and they all loved them, and thankfully they fit the computers perfectly. And this is just a slightly different version that I did. I hope this all made sense for you. Let me know below if you have any questions, or show me if you made one yourself. Thanks for watching.